Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking all about walleye fishing right now in this early summer period with both plastics and live bait. So when I say we, I actually mean Brian Brosdahl. Bro is going to be talking about those topics. So without further ado, let's hop in the boat with Bro.
Just a little walleye on here. In the summertime, walleyes, as the water temperature is getting warmer and getting closer to 70 degrees, will line up on the edge of the bars facing the deep water for the bug hatches. Oh, good, he let himself go. They line up on the bars getting ready for the insect hatches, and not too long ago there's midge flies hatching out. So they line up, and as the midges come up, they can grab them. So deep water that come up to a bar, whether it's sand, rocks, a little bit of weeds always helps, get on the edges of these bars. When the big mayflies come up, they get even more aggressive, but it'll fill them up and they don't feed long. Midge flies are like popcorn. They just never get full. Mayflies, it's like a steak. How many steaks can you eat?
So this is the time of year when you're starting to think about transitioning from live bait into plastics. And the main thing that we're talking about right now is just the rising water temperature and the rising metabolisms of the walleyes that you're chasing. So now we're gonna cut to Bro, and Bro is gonna share his thoughts on when he likes to make the switch.
Jumbo perch. They like mimic minnows also. He had that thing down the hatch. Look at, that's a healthy one. They're eating crayfish. We had cold temperatures, and now it's getting warm. In the summertime, when the water temperature gets closer to 70, plastics become a big player. Sometimes even colder, but 70, you're on. Just know you can use plastics. Instinctive reactive strikes are big time. Not quite hitting, darting, racing puppets just yet, but plastics with the paddle tail. Flukes are really good also, and impulse plastics work really well. Here's another one here. Impulse, different colors you can have. Just great baits, and they don't let them go right away. So something to check out. We're going to try some different colors, and right now I've been using pink and white mimics, but I'm going to try it because you don't know till you try.
Now the best part about fishing way up in Bro country, up in northern Minnesota, is the fact that you catch a little bit of everything. So you got the walleyes, you got bass and panfish, you got those big perch, which are always fun to catch, and sometimes you even run into some of those big toothy critters.
All right, mimic minnow. Oh, it looks like a perch. Decent perch. Oh, here comes a muskie.
Ooh.
Got him. Oh, there he is down there.
Wow, how cool is that?
Oh, yeah, there he is.
Look at him going up to your trolling motor. Now don't worry, we only dangled that perch in the water there for maybe 5 to 10 extra seconds just to see what would happen. But luckily for that perch, she came out unscathed, so here she is.
You can see mimic minnows aren't just for walleyes. I like that pink one. That little white tail just works so nice. Here, I'll show you it in the water here. So just, you just throw it out and let it sit. And you see how that works? Look at that action. Great in the summertime. I love using plastics when the water temperature is over 70. And that's just a great color. Just pitch it out there. Let it sink down. We're in about 4 or 5 feet of water here. And I like to sweep it and then pause. Sweep, and then once I know there's probably something following it, then I reel it slow with some twitches. And then let it fall, and that tail's just going down in that water and just working like crazy. So just work it back really slow. The neat thing about that little tail, it just moves. There's big paddle tails on the market. Sometimes the smaller ones work. They move more and create a lot of action. Oh, I just had one. That one slammed it. And you got to treat it just like a crankbait. You got to have confidence in it. Anything you have confidence in always works.
So at the front of this video, I mentioned that we were going to be talking about catching walleyes on both plastics and live bait. And obviously to this point, we've really only been talking about catching them on plastics. But that's gonna change now. We're gonna shift gears, and Bro is gonna share when he likes to bust out the live bait for early summer walleyes.
Well, you know, during the day it gets flat and it gets really tough to catch fish. When it gets really flat, I mean, it's almost glass out here. Then I start using up the bait. I bring bait also. Put some numbers through the boat. We were smashing them on mimics, and now the fish got lethargic and they were just kind of hanging around. I'm gonna try to heave them up here. Oh. That was a netter, but I heaved it. Nice fish. It doesn't hurt to have some bait. We're in a glacial lake area in northern Minnesota. A lot of these fish actually get close to the bait, and we've seen them bumping our plastics, and you get that scent, but sometimes they'll come up and they'll bump it to see if it's what they really want. So I kind of do the 1-2 punch. Throw some mimics, some impulse, but grab some minnows because we've got to keep the bait shops in business.
And now here's some thoughts from Bro on the different minnow species that you could be using to catch walleyes this time of year. Alright, but a double is a double.
It is.
There we go.
Alright.
Just for the fun of it, throw on some shiners on the old RZ jig.
Shiners are always good. They're just hard to get. Rainbows work really well.
Yeah.
If we're going on a list of minnows, if you can't get anything, big fatheads work, but once they spawn, it's hard to find big ones. And then grassy shiners, we don't want to talk about those because they're hard. They have to sort through a lot of red tails. And red tails are the creme de la creme of minnows. And we don't have any of those. I only had so much money in my wallet when I went by the bait shop, so I just got what I could find.
Well, there you go. There's a quick little rundown from the live bait master himself. Now, on this particular day, we were definitely targeting walleyes, but it's funny, it seems like no matter what, whenever I hop in the boat or on the ice with Bro, no matter what we're targeting, we end up catching some really nice big perch. So here's one last awesome perch that you gotta check out from our day on the water.
Wow. Actually, might have to just talk about perch. Look at these things are biting. It's fun. Big perch, and you'll see it on an aqua view, are running around with the walleyes, especially if there's a school of eaters, and the big perch think they're very much a predator, and they're in there with them. One thing to remember with summer, they have to eat bigger. They're not eating little morsels like they do in the wintertime, where they're eating bloodworms, or they're eating mayfly larvae, young of the year perch hatches. They're really gorging. And this time of year, remember that crayfish molt and become soft, so the fish pound them. And so crayfish colors work. Orange, pink isn't a crayfish color, but it's bright. And so they're just after stuff right now, and it's kind of fun. Nice thing with plastics, I can whip it out there. You know, you're not losing your bait when you do it.
Now, obviously, Bro has his finger on the pulse of the bite all season long because he's always out there and he's always on them. But right now is the month of June, so I asked Bro specifically to talk a little bit about what's happening in the lakes that he's fishing and how he finds them, where he catches them right now in the month of June for the next few weeks.
You know, as June comes around, the fish start feeding on bug hatches, and eventually it turns into crayfish, so there's always food. They start out coming up shallow to feed on shiners on the flats, and as well as young of the year perch. You can see this fish down here. Look at him go. Oh, he didn't like that. Oh, that's fun. But I'm going to try to, he's a little bit too big to swing, so I'm going to get my net.
Underneath the bait bucket.
Yeah, I always like to keep my net handy. Boy, the way I had my net hid, you'd think I'd try not to catch fish here. Oh yeah. That's a beauty right there. That's a beauty, eh? Love catching those fish, eh? Doesn't get old ever catching fish. Awesome. This is why I fish. I just love feeling that bite. It's so exciting. And I've got a dog barking at me, so I'm not in the most remote location, but fun. There you go, buddy. So in June, the fish have so much food. They've got shiners. They've got young of the year perch. Most of your young of the year perch are in the weeds. Your shiners are on the warming on the sandbars, and as that season starts progressing, the insects come up. Well, the shiners eat insects, everything eats insects, and they get their big shot of energy. The mayflies are the big ones. Midgeflies are small. Like I said, they're like popcorn, eating peanuts, you just don't get full. Mayflies, fill them up, and they get stuffed. And then throw in some crayfish with no shell. If I was a walleye, I'd be all over those crayfish. Lobster every day, it'd be great. So they're pounding those. So even if you do trick fish into biting in the middle of June, going into July, they're coughing up food as they're fighting because they're so full of food. Their lips are sore, and if you look underneath their chin, their arteries are bulged out from feeding, and they literally get sore mouths. But you can still catch them. You just gotta stay vigilant and try different things. Plastics, ripping jigs, jigging a minnow, jigging a crawler, jigging a leech, slip bobbers. Got it all rigged up here. And being versatile, don't be a one-trick pony.
You know what? It always seems like whenever I'm out fishing with Bro, whether it's during the summer or the winter, any time of year, it seems like we always end up catching fish. So it's always a pleasure hopping in the boat with Bro, and I want to thank him for taking me out and sharing some good information for this video. If you learned anything in this video, hit that little red subscribe button down below, because we have a lot more awesome videos coming this summer. So stay tuned. We will see you next time.